The firing range aboard the Galactic Coalition station hummed with the controlled chaos of 100 species testing their mettle. Orla stood at lane 47, her human frame dwarfed by the towering Crithians and the chitinous bulk of the Vextari surrounding her. The rifle in her hands, a standard-issue plasma carbine, felt foreign compared to the chemical propellant weapons of Earth, but her grip remained steady. Another human? The voice dripped with contempt. Orla turned to find a Crithian marksman in the adjacent lane, its 4 eyes blinking in sequence as it regarded her. The alien stood nearly 8 feet tall, its exoskeleton gleaming under the artificial lights. "I am Vorkesh, champion of the Crithian Defense Corps. I have scored perfect marks for 17 cycles. Orla Mitchell, Terran Defense Force." She extended her hand out of habit, then lowered it when the Crithian simply stared. "Your species has been with the Coalition for less than 2 solar cycles," Vorkesh continued, its mandibles clicking in what Orla had learned was their equivalent of laughter. "Yet you presume to compete with species who have mastered warfare for millennia. Your anatomy is inefficient, only 2 eyes, limited spectrum vision, slow reflexes. You are prey animals playing at being predators." James appeared at Orla's shoulder, his own plasma carbine slung across his back. "Everything all right here, Lieutenant?" "Fine, Corporal." Orla's jaw tightened. "Just making introductions." Vorkesh's attention shifted to James. "2 of you. How quaint. Tell me, humans, what is your training regimen? How many simulations have you completed? What neural enhancement protocols do your primitives employ?" "We go to the range," James said flatly. "We run. We learn to think." The Crithian's laughter intensified, drawing attention from neighboring lanes. A Peltharian observer, a floating tentacled being that served as the rangemaster, drifted closer, its translator rendering its concern in flat tones. "Is there a disturbance?" "No disturbance," Vorkesh said. "Merely curiosity about human training methods. They claim to rely on thinking." The word carried mockery. No genetic optimization, no reflex amplification, no cognitive processors. Just biological impulse and hope. "Then let's make it interesting," Orla said, surprising herself. "A competition. You and me. Standard Coalition qualifying course, but we'll add variables. Moving targets, environmental shifts, time pressure. Winner takes bragging rights." Vorkesh's mandibles spread wide. "You wish to be humiliated before the entire Coalition? Or maybe you're afraid a prey animal might surprise you." The Crithian's exoskeleton flushed a deep purple. Anger, Orla had learned. "Agreed, we shoot in 1 standard hour." "Prepare for your embarrassment, human." The gallery above the range filled quickly. Word had spread through the station's gossip networks, a human challenging Vorkesh, the undefeated champion. Species from across the Coalition gathered to watch what most assumed would be a spectacular failure. James checked Orla's equipment one final time. "You sure about this, LT?" "Vorkesh isn't blowing smoke. I've seen the scores. That thing doesn't miss." "That's the problem," Orla murmured. "It doesn't miss because it doesn't have to think about missing." The Peltharian rangemaster announced the parameters. 50 targets at varying distances from 50 to 800 meters. Half would be stationary. Half would move in unpredictable patterns. Gravity would shift randomly. Wind resistance would fluctuate. Atmospheric density would vary. Shooters would have 30 minutes. Vorkesh stepped to its lane, its primary and secondary arms both gripping weapons, an advantage Orla couldn't match. The Crithian's auxiliary eyes swiveled independently, tracking targets before the course even began. Orla took her position, closed her eyes for 3 seconds, and breathed. "Begin." Vorkesh moved like a machine. Because in many ways it was, enhanced reflexes. Processing nodes embedded in its neural structure, predictive algorithms calculating trajectories before targets even appeared fully. Its first 10 shots struck home in rapid succession. Plasma bolts burned through target centers with mechanical precision. Orla fired her first shot 4 seconds after the start. 1 target down. She didn't rush for the second. In the gallery, a Vextari observer's translator buzzed. The human is already behind, inefficient. But James watched with different eyes. He'd trained with Orla for 6 years since their academy days. He saw what the aliens couldn't. The slight tilt of her head, the way her breathing remained steady despite the pressure, the micro-adjustments in her stance. Vorkesh was ahead by 15 targets at the 10-minute mark. Its movements remained flawless, each shot a study in optimized efficiency. The Crithian was doing exactly what its enhancements trained it to, To execute without error, then the course shifted. The Rangemaster activated Scenario 7, a rare setting that introduced chaos variables. Targets began moving in non-mathematical patterns. Gravity wells appeared randomly. Atmospheric conditions changed every 30 seconds. Vorkesh's pace stuttered. Its predictive algorithms faltered when faced with true randomness. The Crythian recalibrated, but precious seconds ticked away. Its shot pattern became defensive, conservative. Orla accelerated. She wasn't faster than Vorkesh. Her eyes couldn't track multiple targets simultaneously. She had no computer calculating windage and elevation. But she had something the Crythian's enhancements had gradually eroded over generations of optimization. Adaptability, born from imperfection. When gravity shifted, Orla adjusted her stance instinctively. Muscle memory born from thousands of hours in Earth's varied environments. When wind patterns randomized, she read them not through sensors but through feel. The slight pressure on her skin, the way her hair moved, the sound of air current changes. She missed her 23rd shot. Then her 29th, but she didn't freeze. She didn't recalculate. She adapted, learned, and continued. At the 20-minute mark, they were even. The gallery had gone silent. Vorkesh's movements became frantic. The Crythian's enhancements were betraying it. They demanded patterns, predictability, optimized solutions. When chaos reigned, they provided contradictory data. The champion was drowning in its own perfection. Orla entered what her instructors called the flow, that state where thinking became doing, where the gap between observation and action collapsed. She wasn't calculating shots. She was simply shooting, her imperfect human brain processing information in ways no algorithm could match because she wasn't trying to be perfect. She was trying to be effective. Her final shot struck home with 8 seconds remaining. Vorkesh fired 3 times in those last seconds, striking twice. Final score, Orla, 47 targets. Vorkesh, 46. The gallery erupted in confusion. The Peltharian Rangemaster verified the results 3 times before announcing them official. Vorkesh stood motionless for a long moment, its exoskeleton pale. Then it approached Orla's lane, moving with what seemed like reluctance. "I do not understand," the Crythian said quietly. "My enhancements are superior. My training is longer. My record is perfect." "That's just it," James said, stepping forward. "Your record was perfect. You were trained to be a soldier, to follow optimization, to execute flawlessly under ideal conditions. Orla was trained to be a warrior, to adapt, to think, to improvise when everything goes wrong." Orla extended her hand again. This time Vorkesh took it with one primary arm. "Perhaps," the Crythian said slowly, "there is wisdom in your species' inefficiency." "It's not inefficiency," Orla replied. "It's humanity. We're not perfect. We're not the strongest or the fastest, but we're survivors. And survivors don't win by being flawless. We win by being stubborn enough to adapt when everything else fails." As they left the range, James grinned. "Think they'll start teaching human doctrine in coalition military academies?" "Doubt it," Orla said. "Most species spent millions of years optimizing away their weaknesses. We spent millions of years learning to thrive because of ours." Behind them, Vorkesh stood at the lane, staring at the targets. For the first time in 17 cycles, the champion missed deliberately. Then again, and again, learning finally the value of imperfection.